Hi guys, welcome to the channel if you are new, welcome back if you are not. So I personally am obsessed with goal setting. I'm obsessed with all things personal development, and every month I sit down and I set new goals for myself. But I've noticed something. I've noticed that I never follow through with them. For the longest time, I thought it was a lack of willpower. I thought it was just personal failure on my part. But the reason that I want to make this video is that I feel like I realized the one thing that was really holding me back from actually achieving these goals I was setting for myself. And since I fixed that one thing, I have found it so much easier to actually achieve my goals. So if you're also in this same boat with me where you really want to set ambitious goals and accomplish amazing things in your life, but you find yourself constantly falling short, this might also be the key for you. Let's talk about kind of what I was doing wrong and how I figured out how to fix that. At the start of every month, I would sit down with my planner and I would create a list of goals. It could be in any part of my life. I would set YouTube goals, I would set personal goals, health goals, write them down in my planner, and I would feel great. I would feel super optimistic, super put together, would write them all down, and then I would slide my planner into my desk, close the drawer, and then I wouldn't open that drawer back up until the end of the month. And I would be like, oh yeah, what were my goals again? Oh, whoops, didn't do that. Too bad, I'll just set a whole bunch of new ones. So honestly, it is no surprise that I was not achieving any of my goals because I couldn't fucking remember them. And instead of blowing it up into this big personal failure of feeling like I just didn't have enough motivation or discipline to achieve things, I began realizing that the issue wasn't that I didn't have the dedication, it was that my goals weren't visible. This was the trick that changed everything for me and helped me to actually achieve my goals in the month of July. I decided that what I needed to do was make my goals visible, and I did this in two main ways. One was as blatant and obvious as you could possibly get. I hung papers up on my wall with the main goals that I wanted to focus on for the month. So there was no way that I could forget and not see my goals. I wasn't required to open up any tab on my computer. They were literally physically in my space, and they were one of the first things I saw when I woke up and one of the first things I saw before I went to bed. And honestly, this was extremely helpful. So for the month of July, I really simplified my goals, and I'll talk a little bit about how that also helped in the second portion of this video. But I had very simple goals, and they were to focus on hitting 900 subscribers, so putting in work to YouTube, doing what I had to do on my end to help make that possible. And then my other goals were to focus on exercise and sleep. And so what I did is I hung two papers on my wall, one that said 900 to represent 900 subscribers, and one that said literally the words exercise plus sleep. What I really loved about doing this is that as soon as I looked at those papers, as soon as I woke up in the morning, in literally a couple words, I could get a sense of what my priorities for the day should be. They were simplified into one word, and they became really easy to execute. So every time I saw these papers on my wall, it really easily helped me remember what I should be prioritizing and kind of just the focus of my month, the main themes that I should be incorporating, even in a small way, into my day-to-day. It was also because I wasn't trying to focus on every single area of my life, and I instead had pared it down to exercise, sleep, YouTube. It became a whole lot easier for me to not feel overwhelmed, and also for me just to remember what my main monthly goals are. Like that entire month of July, I was very clear about the fact that my focus should be getting enough sleep and doing some exercise, and there was no getting confused or overwhelmed. It was very simple, to the point, and very, very visible. If the whole papers on the wall thing is a little bit too confronting for you, something else I tried that helped to make my goals more visible was something that I added to my daily to-do list. So I have a daily to-do template in Notion, and something that I added as one of the prompts was, how can I work towards my monthly goals today? I find this super valuable because what it does is it forces me to look back at my monthly goals in order to find ways to implement them, but it also makes sure that I am working towards those goals step by step by step on a daily basis, rather than getting halfway through the month and being like, oh, I've made no progress on these, I need to rush into them. It's a way to kind of break it down into the step-by-step process and make it more digestible, easier to do, and just like a lot less overwhelming. So that is something else that really helped, and it kept, again, again, my monthly goals top of mind by incorporating them into my daily to-do list. So that core advice of making goals visible is something that really helped me to achieve my goals in July, but there's something else that I want to touch on that I also think was a huge contributing factor, and that was to make my goals more of a focus rather than a specific task. This kind of goes against like conventional wisdom that people will tell you, because if you ever got taught about SMART goals in school, one of the parts of SMART goals is to make your goals specific. So they'll advise you, instead of saying I want to exercise more, say I want to exercise 5 times a week doing this specific workout. And while I understand the value of that, what I've found for myself personally is that if I am really rigid with my goals, 1 or 2 days of messing up can totally set me off track. Because if I make a goal to do something every single day and I miss a day or two, I'm going to get discouraged, I'm going to give up, and I just don't find that super productive. Versus if I set a more general focus for my month, for example, this month I really want to focus on building an exercise routine or exercising more, exercising most days, which I have found to be a very valuable phrase to put into my goals. It makes it a lot more attainable, and it allows for some flexibility where even if you fall off the wagon, you can then refocus on that theme and still accomplish that goal. So even if for a week of the month I got super busy with other things and wasn't able to prioritize working out, if at the end of that week I take a look at my goals and remember, hey, exercise is supposed to be a big focus for me this month, I can simply reintegrate it without any guilt, without any blame or feeling discouraged. I can just reprioritize that focus. And I find that this idea of focuses and themes are a lot less rigid and a lot less pressure than goals per se. So if you're struggling with keeping to your goals, I really suggest simplifying it to bare bones, making it as easy to keep track of as possible. Don't make it something where you need to track it every day. I personally have found for myself that I never stick to that more than like a day or two. Instead, I really recommend just choosing an area or two of your life that you want to focus on, making that your goal for the month and leaving it at that. Don't try to accomplish everything at once. Don't set a goal for your friendships and your YouTube channel and your main job and your apartment and your hair and your whatever. Like, don't try to literally fix or improve every single part of your life at once, because that is just fucking impossible. Choose 1 to 2 areas of your life, for example, exercise and sleep, and make those your intentions and your focus for the month. And I promise you will get a lot less overwhelmed, and it will honestly be freeing to feel like you can kind of let the rest of your life function a little more on autopilot, and you don't need to be so obsessed with optimizing and improving every single thing about you, because that is a lot for a person to try to do in a month, and you're just gonna burn yourself out. This next thing I'm gonna say is also gonna be something you probably don't hear regularly and something that goes against conventional goal setting wisdom, but it is don't set challenging goals. I know this might be surprising because we're always told, push ourselves, make sure your goals are a little out of your reach so that it motivates you. But if you have a habit of not sticking to goals, I think what could honestly save you is at least for a month or two, set easy fucking goals that you know you can achieve, because chances are if you've messed up your goals month after month after month, you have very little faith and confidence in your ability to achieve goals. I have really learned that confidence turns into motivation, and so much of goal setting and accomplishment is mental. So if you're feeling confident that you're capable of doing the things that you put your mind to, you're going to be a lot more likely to actually follow through on those goals. You're going to feel good, you're going to be willing to put in the action, and you're just going to generally believe it's possible. Versus if you have a terrible track record of not sticking to any of the goals you set, and you set some really challenging goal like running a mile every day when you have no running experience, on day 2 you're going to be like, damn, I failed, but what else is new? I always fail at these goals I set. And that's literally the worst thing you could do for yourself. So if you are struggling to achieve goals, what I recommend is literally strip it down as much as possible and set 1 or 2 extremely attainable goals, because what that's gonna do is it's gonna start building your confidence back up. And month by month, you can start biting off a little bit more as you start to feel way more confident and like you can actually do these things that you're writing down. You want to set goals that you can achieve achieve. And I would say set goals that you feel you can safely achieve, because at the end of the month, you want to feel accomplished and impressed with yourself. You want to ensure that you're going to have those positive, motivating feelings at the end of the month, because that's what's going to push you forward. You don't want to have to build your confidence back up after a bunch of failed goals and an unimpressive month. That's literally not going to help you. What is going to help you is feeling like, damn, I really crushed it last month. I checked off every single fucking box on my goals list. I'm so proud of myself. I'm so impressed with myself. I want to keep going. I want to keep doing more. That's the feeling that you want to create for yourself at the end of every month. And maybe you have to trick yourself a little bit by setting easier goals in order to create that sense of accomplishment and moving forward. But that feeling matters so much more than whether or not you actually accomplish something difficult or out of your reach. Let's talk, for example, in the context of starting a YouTube channel, right? Let's look at two different realities here. In the first reality, you decide that you're going to set a subscriber goal of 100 subscribers. You want to gain 100 subscribers this month. And you know it's a little bit of a stretch, but you feel like with just enough luck and just enough effort, maybe you could do it. And let's say that you actually end up gaining 75 subscribers. You're going to feel pretty disappointed, pretty bummed that you fell short of your 100 goal, and it's not really going to make you super motivated to keep going. Let's look at a second reality where you set more of a safe goal of 50 subscribers. Considering your past growth rate, you feel like 50 subscribers is a pretty safe bet, and you feel like it's going to happen for you this month. You gain the same 75 subscribers in the month, but instead of feeling super disappointed because you set a 100 subscriber goal, you feel like you knocked your goal out of the park. You're doing even better than you thought you would, and you have a surge of extra confidence and motivation. You feel like you're growing at a quick rate, and you're just really proud of yourself. In both of these realities, you are achieving the same thing. You're gaining the same amount of subscribers, but in the reality where you set the more easy, attainable goal, you end the month feeling a lot better versus if you set the ambitious goal. So my argument here is that especially if you are not someone who normally achieves your goals and you might not have the most confidence in yourself and what you're able to do, start with easy, really attainable goals so you can get used to that feeling of checking them off at the end of the month. And I promise it will raise your confidence and make it a lot easier for you to knock it out of the park with more ambitious goals in the future. Not to mention, if you believe in manifestation, feeling like you're in this mode of achieving things and growing and accomplishing is going to actually help to pull in more achievements, accomplishment, growth. Versus if you're in this lack mentality of feeling like things aren't happening fast enough and you're not accomplishing anything, chances are your growth is going to be a lot more of a slow crawl. I hope that you guys got some value out of this video. Let me know in the comments what the biggest mistake that you've made with goal setting in the past is. I'd be really curious to hear about that. And if you want me to talk about any more topics related to goal setting or personal development, make sure you leave them in the comments because these are some of my favorite videos to make. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I will see you in the next one. Also, I got my hair done today and I feel really cute. I'm gonna go make a matcha. Bye.
Yeah, this baby said that they don't got a future like it burns. So give him something worse to kill his head with, make him forget somehow. Might be that another day she would have wished he stayed, but they're